I've been saying for months at this point how dangerous sports betting is for the broader economy. And I think the more it becomes integrated in our daily life, both in like the apps that we use to invest, into the sports analysis that we read, this will just continue to normalize the idea of sports betting as a legitimate pastime or a legitimate way to build money. And it is just going to financially devastate a generation of people. The more you see sports betting content integrated with regular sports content, your brain will register it as legitimate analysis. This is the same trick that tobacco companies used with doctors in the 50s. Like, authority figures make risky behavior seem normal. And I think there's also this illusion of control that comes with sports betting, and just like reframing gambling more as like betting, strategy, etc. And for a lot of people, the more information you have, the more confident you feel, not always the most accurate you are. And so I think a lot of these companies are making it seem like you have a ton of data points and giving you the confidence to sports bet when a lot of times you have or almost no control over the outcome. And what's so important to know is that sports betting companies have paid these publications, these other platforms, billions of dollars to make sports gambling feel more normalized. Um, with the advertising, with the integration and like the content, it is designed to extract money from people who often can't afford to lose it. And it's working. Since legalization, sports betting addiction has exploded, especially among young men that watch a lot of these analysis. And I think it's really important to point out just how nefarious a lot of this behavior is when you think about how you spend money and how your money psychology is.
Listen, bro, I'm gonna tell you that nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing good comes from casinos, sports betting. It's harmless and all of this stuff. Yes, for a very select few. Even myself, like when it comes to sports betting, I know that it's tearing these young guys out the frame. It's dudes that got certified, straight up addictions. It's people that follow everything for a pick, anything for a parlay. I haven't heard of the word parlay more than I've ever heard it right now, and it is absolutely destroying people. And I have never seen it actually benefit a casino alone, let alone sports betting. I've never seen it actually benefit communities. I think that it's a lot of money that's going into the coffers of these people. And even when it comes to these advertisers, one of the biggest advertisers on these platforms are sports and gambling, and almost every podcast be having it. I've been offered it, and I just can't bring myself to ever push that on my people. It's just not right. It is so addictive, and people chase their losses to where it could become so problematic. You can lose your family, you can lose your relationships, you literally can lose your house. There's people that lost their house, they lost their businesses, they've gotten home and had nothing. It's people that get divorced over this stuff. And so the level of addiction that I see happening inside of the industry, I'll give you an example. If you look at how Mark Cuban is sold his share of the Dallas Mavericks and how it's now being integrated, the new owner is partnering with a sports betting company to have it integrated in whatever it is that's happening inside of the arena. And it's happening everywhere. Every podcast is doing it. Everywhere is doing it. They just looking to get a bag, and they promote this to their audience, and their audiences suffer from it. It becomes a lifetime of suffering because these guys don't have any control whatsoever, and they continue to chase. And it starts off really small and it starts to evolve. And so a lot of times you're not able to see what's happening because it's like a hidden addiction. You don't have to go anywhere anymore. It's right here on these devices. You can download an app. I know people that have two phones. They be like this, checking on that, and they got two phones, and they checking different betting sites and stuff like that, and trying to make sure that they, will allow for them to take wagers and all of this stuff. And it is bad. It's bad. I remember when casinos came here a long time ago, right? People talk about all of the jobs that it provided, and I guess if you want to look at it from that lens, because a lot of when they launched was right before the housing crisis burst, and It was a lot of gambling going on. And that's the one thing I know about people is that no matter what the situation is, especially when it comes to gambling, they going to feed that addiction. I've never personally been into sports betting. I do bet on sports occasionally when I'm going to a game or something, and it just gives me more incentive to root for the team. I didn't vote for, oh, yes, I did. I did bet on the Super Bowl. And the only thing that was a sure bet up to this point in my life was a Floyd Mayweather fight. But other than that, man, these sports betting sites is going crazy. I think it's integrating itself into sports so much so where you can't even turn on a sports show outside of YouTube or just on a regular TV without seeing them promoting some kind of gambling company. You don't see it anywhere. And so they spending a lot of money to basically normalize and indoctrinate people, embracing sports betting. But I think it's horrible. I think it's absolutely horrible. And again, when I seen casinos, not even sports betting is still relatively new here in Michigan. But it is in those places. When I seen the casinos and stuff come here, I was thinking to myself, this ain't even a tourist destination right now. And so them coming here is just siphoning money out of the community. And I would see busloads and busloads of seniors getting ticked to the casino and stuff like that. It's just bad. It's a plague. That junk got a crush on everybody, and I'm starting to see women get into it too.
Exploited.
What's going on? Happy Monday. Heading to work right now, but it got me thinking about like my Monday mornings. And I remember when I was really, really struggling with gambling addiction, like Monday mornings were the worst because not only is it starting your week off like terrible, but it's also like the time when I would be getting reached out
Right after all of the football on Sunday.
to by like my bookie or whoever, right? Like saying, hey, I need you to pay me this week because I have to pay somebody else. Or it was very rare where I was the one collecting. But what's interesting is the times on the Monday mornings when I would be asking to collect like my winnings for the week or whatever, they would just carry it over because they knew that I would be gambling with it anyways. And so
That's a hell of an addiction. That's a hell of an addiction to where you don't even take your payouts no more. Niggas in with the bookies and with the gambling sites and all of that stuff. That's a hell of a way to live your life, bro. Good God, Jesus. And when he won, if he won, then he wouldn't tell them to actually, pay him out. He would just let them roll over the winnings because he knew that he was gonna come back again. That's a hell of an addiction, bro.
I never really got like paid out. And so Monday mornings were just always the worst.
Yeah, bro, that's not a good look. But again, it's now starting to. It's at first it was overt, it was in front of your face or whatever. And I don't want to name none of the companies because I don't really want to get into that. I will tell you that ain't no way in the world that I'm ever gonna gamble online. It's just not a thing. It's just not popping. I think that it drains us and it drains people of you know everything that's happening, and it just basically has a chokehold. Young men, especially black men, they are in a bind, bro. They are in a bind ever since they started allowing for these sites, and they legalizing it. And that's part of the reason also why Las Vegas is being cannibalized, because people don't feel like they need to travel for the experience no more. They can just get it right there in their backyard. Now, obviously, that's not everybody, because most people like jumping on a plane and going to a different place, but you don't need to go to these places anymore in order to get your rocks off. That's what's so scary about it. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley. 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think that the sports and the integration of it is actually ruining the game?